In this video, we're going to talk about how to balance chemical equations. So to begin, there's a few rules or tips for balancing chemical equations. They're listed as you can see on the screen here. I'm not going to go through all of them. However, they're just good tips to follow. So if you want to screenshot that or come back to it, you can use that when we work on the next problems. So for the first one, we have N2 plus H2 equals NH3. So to begin this, we're going to go ahead and list the atoms present. So we have on the left side, we have nitrogen and hydrogen. And on the right side, of course, we're going to have the same thing, nitrogen and hydrogen. All right, so right now we have 2 nitrogen on the left and 1 nitrogen on the right. So we need to go ahead and put a 2 here so that we have 2 nitrogen and 2 nitrogen. Adding the 2 on the right side with the NH3 is going to make our hydrogens now 6. So we need to balance that out on the left-hand side by adding a 3. And just like that, the numbers match. We have 2, 2, and 6, 6. Since we didn't put anything on the N2, that's just going to remain 1. So the correct balanced equation for number 1 is 1, 3, and 2. For the second problem, it's a little bit more complex, but this is the same steps when you're balancing equations every time. So we're going to go ahead and start by listing the atoms in a table. All right, so for number 2, we have potassium, chlorine, oxygen on the left and on the right. It's good to go ahead and make a table to start off so that you know everything on the left is going to equal the same thing on the right. So if we have an atom or an element on the left that's not on the right, then we know that the chemical equation is not correct. So we're going to go ahead and start this one off. Right now we have 1 potassium, 1 chlorine, and 3 oxygen. And over here we have 1 potassium, 1 chlorine, and 2 oxygen. So for the potassium and chlorine, they're both 1 as of right now, so they're balanced. However, the oxygens are not. So to balance these out, we're going to go ahead and add a 2 to begin right here and a 3 right here. So now we have equal amounts of oxygen. However, that will change our other elements present. So now for potassium on the left, we have 2, chlorine, we have 2, and on the right, we still have 1 and 1. So to fix this, we'll go ahead and put a 2 right here, the potassium chloride, and that will make it even at 2 and 2. Go ahead and double check. We have 2, 2, 2, 2, 6, 6. So this is good. The next problem has NaCl plus F2 equals Naf plus Cl2. So we'll go ahead and list these elements out. So as of right now, we have 1 sodium on the left, 1 chlorine, and 2 fluorines. And on the right, we have 1 chlorine, 1 fluorine, and 2 chlorides. So to start this off, we're going to go ahead and balance out the chlorine first. We'll add a 2 right there, and this will stay 1 for right now. So now we have 2, 2, and the chlorines do match now. So next we need to look at the fluorines. Our fluorine, we have 2 on the left and 1 on the right. We're going to go ahead and put a 2 right here, and that will make our new equation on the right 2 sodium, 2 chlorine, and 2 fluorine. As you can see, we have 2's all the way down on each side, so this one is balanced correctly. As you can see, when you go through these, they become a lot more simpler. You don't always have to make a list. However, when you're first starting out and you're trying to understand how to do this, it's good to go ahead and make a table and a list so that you don't forget anything. All right, for problem number 4, we have 2 hydrogens on the left and 2 oxygens. And on the right, we have 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. So to begin this, we need to add another oxygen or increase our oxygens on the right by 1. So we're going to go ahead and put a 2 here, which will change our hydrogens to 4. And to balance our hydrogens on the left, we'll add a 2 in front of the hydrogen to get 4. The 2 on the right for the H2O will also increase the oxygen. So as you can see, we have 4, 2, 4, 2, and so this is balanced. The next equation is PbOH2, HCl, H2O on the right, and PbCl2 on the right. So on the left, we have one lead, and for the parentheses, we have to remember to add the 2 to both of the oxygen and the hydrogen. So the oxygen, there are 2, and there are 2 hydrogen, plus this one right here, so we actually have 3. And then 1 Cl. And over here we have 1 Pb, 1 O, and 2 hydrogens, 2 chlorines. All right, as you can see, our leads are balanced correctly. Our oxygens, we need to have an extra one on the right. Our hydrogens, we need an extra one on the right. And our chlorines, we need an extra one on the left. So to begin this one, you can start by just kind of plugging and chugging. However, it's easiest to go ahead and balance the hydrogen and oxygen first. So we have 3 hydrogen on the left and 2 on the right. So we're going to go ahead and put a 2 in front of the H2O, which will now change our hydrogen to 4 and our oxygen to 2. And then we will go ahead and balance our hydrogens out now again. So we need 4 hydrogens. And just like that, we have a balanced equation. The next problem we have is aluminum AlBr3 plus K2SO4, and then on the right we have KBr plus Al2SO4 3. So we'll start by making a list again. Aluminum we have 1, bromine we have 3, potassium we have 2, sulfur we have 1, and oxygen we have 4. And on the right, we have 2 aluminum, 1 bromine, 1 potassium, 3 sulfur because we have 1 in the parentheses, but there's a 3 on the outside. So we go ahead and multiply 3 times 1, which is 3. And then oxygen, which will be 3 times 4, which is 12. So again, to start this one off, we'll go ahead and start by balancing our first element first. So aluminum, we have 2 on the right and 1 on the left. So we'll go ahead and put a 2 on the left to balance those out, which will also change our bromines to 6. So to get the bromines to 6 on the right, we'll go ahead and add a 6 right here, which will change our potassium and bromine to 6 and 6. Next, we need to balance out our potassium. So we have 6 on the right, so we need to add 4 on the left. The way we can do that is to go ahead and add a 3 in front of here. Now that we have 6 potassium, and that will change our sulfur to 3 and our oxygen to 12. So as you can see on the table list, that this is now completely balanced. For our last example, we have CH4 plus O2, and then CO2 plus H2 on the right. Again, we'll go ahead and list these out: carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Carbon, we have 1, hydrogen, we have 4, oxygen, we have 2. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen on the right. We have 1 carbon, 2 hydrogen, and 3 oxygen. So the carbons are already balanced out correctly, so we'll go ahead and skip to the hydrogen. So we need 2 more hydrogen on the right. We'll go ahead and add 2 here. We'll just change the hydrogen to 4 and the oxygen to now 4. The last thing we need to balance out is the oxygen. So we have 4 on the right and 2 on the left. To fix that, we'll just add a 2 in front of the oxygen, which will now make that 4. Going through, we have 1, 4, 4, 1, 4, 4. This is a balanced equation. But yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. If this video helped you at all in any way, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.